All right, let's go ahead and just get started. Lance, what you got going on today?
I am in Fort Walton, Florida, at the beach.
Nice, good for you. Well, thanks for jumping on at the beach. Hopefully you can rip that dress shirt off as soon as we get done here and head outside.
It actually, it's cold here, so I got it on to stay warm, really.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, hopefully it warms up a little bit. You down there the whole week of Thanksgiving?
No, we're coming back Wednesday morning. We leave here Wednesday morning, but you actually lose an hour, so it'll be I think about 1 o'clock when we land.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah. Anyone else traveling for Thanksgiving this week? Local. Sorry.
No, I'm not.
She joins, we'll go ahead and get started. We were talking about doing some financing today, different types of loans and things like that. So I know it's a holiday week. We'll make this one kind of quick so you guys can get to your other activities. But here's a few more stragglers.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Driving to an appointment?
No, I'm not driving. I have my friend driving.
Lance is showing off. He's at the beach right now.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. Well, again, today's I'll go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. You may hear my son in the background, so I apologize in advance. All right. Financing the sale. You guys will learn that this is, no matter what side of the business you guys are on, this is arguably the most important part. So you guys are going to have to get used to this. If you don't have somebody that you know, you'll. Caitlin said she can't hear. She's going to try to rejoin. Has everyone met somebody so far? Because I know we do trainings weekly, every other week on the finance side. We have people come in. Has everyone at least met with somebody or seen somebody?
Can you repeat the question, Brian?
You've met somebody out there, one of our people that we recommend that does the financing, the mortgage side. We do a lot of trainings on those. You guys will really want to make sure that you have somebody that you know and like and trust. And feed them business, because it's really going to help you guys out. But we're going to kind of roll through the different types of loans. We're going to be talking about the difference in FHA, VA, and conventional, which are the three most common types. Some state sponsored programs, loan estimates, and closing disclosures. And what your buyers always want to know is what's their mortgage going to be and what's their down payment going to be. So we're going to go through a lot of that stuff today. There's three basic types. So it's FHA, VA, and conventional. Anyone think of a different type of loan?
USDA.
Yeah. USA is at it in our area actually fairly common. Once you get outside of the city, I've got one in Hickory right now that we're trying to put them USDA. They're not wanting to accept FHA, but they will accept USDA. Different guidelines, of course. So we're in the process of trying to switch to loan types. Something you guys will have to deal with on a lot of different transactions. So FHA, I'm sure most of you guys know, it's a government insured loan, right? The maximum loan amount, it does require down payment. You can have a gift. Are you guys familiar with what a gift is? Anybody?
Yes, when let's say you're a first-time home buyer and you have some parents that want to give you 5, 10,000, even $15,000 towards the down payment.
Yeah, so that's considered a gift. So understand, you guys, when you guys are working with buyers, a big part of their concern is that upfront money, right? So you got the fees for the loan, they're paying for the attorney, they're paying for the down payment, they're paying for a lot of other stuff. I mean, a lot of times, even on a $250,000 or $300,000 house, they might come out of pocket $15,000, right? Not all first-time buyers, or not all buyers in general, have that kind of money to put down. So it's not uncommon for people to gift them money, right? That does have to be documented. You can't just have your homie give you 10 grand and it'd be okay, right? It's crazy that you can't, but it has to be from usually a family member or spouse, and they have to write a letter stating that they gave you that money and that you are not having to pay them back that money, right? So there's a couple of things that go along with that, but they can get money from their family. And that same couple in Hickory that I'm talking about, they're going to get a gift from their parents, and their parents already know that when they give them that $5 grand, they will have to write a letter to the lender saying that this is a gift to them, right? So very uncommon, but just let people know. I mean, that's something you guys should know about. Is that, hey, like, if you don't have all the money, a loved one can give you that money. So FHA is a little bit different. Anyone know of a reason why somebody would use FHA over conventional?
You only have to put, I think, was it 3.5% down instead of 5?
Way lower down payment.
Lower down payment, yeah.
Yeah. So typically, when you think of FHA, you think of it's a lower down payment.
And the credit score can be lower too. Your credit
Right.
score, yeah.
Right. So it can
And-
be, yeah. So they're a little more lenient on the money that you have to have down and your credit score, but they are more strict on the appraisal and the inspection, right? So there's some pros and cons there.
And also, what was it? Down payment assistant on that FHA loan.
Right. So there are a lot of different programs, kind of for all the different loans. But there are like first time buyers and down payment assistance programs that can be applied for. And that's something that, when I'm talking to a buyer, I'm always going to recommend, I use my guy Matt a lot. I have somebody named Drew that I use a lot. And when I recommend those people, it is simply like, they will recommend you in the right direction, right? They'll get you to fill out an application and guide you in the right direction. So while it is nice for us to know the basic premise of FHA and conventional and VA and roughly the down payments, but I find it better for me to never quote numbers, right? I'm not out giving somebody, hey, I think you can get 5.6 today, and then refer them to somebody and they can't get 5.6. Now I look bad. Now my lender's under more pressure. I find it much easier if you guys are just say, hey, look, I trust this person. I give them business. They'll take care of you. They'll run your application and give you the right direction. So as opposed to us like recommending different programs, it is nice for us to know it. And even if I know the rates, even if I talk to Matt that morning and say, hey, the rates just dropped 0.25%, I'm still not going to quote those numbers because I don't know what their credit scores and things like that are. So VA is a veterans loans, right? So you got people that are in the military going to get VA loans. Again, a maximum loan amount. A big thing with VA is there's no down payment, right? So they don't have to put $1 down. Seller required closing cost, veteran eligibility, VA loans. I've had quite a few VA loans go through this year. I think historically people are scared of those. Going to take longer to close. They don't always take longer to close, but their inspections can be very strict, right? There's no money being put down. They're financing 100% of it. So you really need to figure out what type of house you're trying to have your buyer buy and make sure that seller is accepting that type of loan, right? And that should pretty much always be in the MLS sheet. So you just want to check on that stuff first. And I'll pull up the MLS here in a minute on a house that we that I put an offer on over the weekend and show you what I mean by that. And then conventional. So conventional is probably your most common. This is, if you're not getting a cash deal as a seller, the next best thing that most people want to see is conventional, right? I'll take any loan, but ideally your conventional. There's a maximum loan amount. You can also do jumbo loans with conventional, and then of course it has front and back end ratios. And I'm going to show you. I got an offer late last night. And I'll show you that, and I really haven't had a chance to look it over because it came through late last night, and I haven't even presented it yet. So we'll look at that here in just a second. Actually, we can pull it up now. Let's see. Can everyone see this okay? I know some of you are in the car, some of you at the beach. So this is the Joan that we met at the showings in Salisbury. This is her and her husband. So when I went to that listing appointment the next day, you can make it. You feeling better, by the way?
My voice, I'm still sort of coming back from it.
Yeah,
I'm a lot
I hear it,
better.
yeah.
I'm a lot better today.
I'm very glad you didn't come. Not because I didn't want you there, but again,
No,
they're almost 90 and
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
It was good that you did that.
Yeah.
Because they're very concerned about health issues. But so I went there the next morning without you. I signed the listing. I put it live the very next day. We've only had one showing, which was kind of shocking to me. I've had a lot of people email and call about it. We've only had one showing, and that was yesterday afternoon on a Sunday. And then that one showing led to one offer. So we listed at 280, got an offer for 270. They're putting 1,500 down due diligence, meaning if we accept this today, we should have a check in our hands for 1,500 that my sellers get assigned. They'll put 1,500 towards earnest. Mathers Realty, escrow agent. So I guess they're holding the funds. The attorney. Due diligence period of December 9th. Today's the 21st, so a little long. Not terrible. And the closing date of December 29th. So 28, 30, 35 to 40 days from here. So I'd like it to be a little bit sooner, but not terrible. So on this next page, you'll see that the financing side. So on section 5 on page 6, you'll see this would be checked here if it was cash. This is where you're normally going to see it. It's checked here that they're going to be doing a loan. This is a first mortgage loan. I mean, it's gonna be their primary loan. And then they've checked conventional, right? And it looks like they're going to be financing 95% of the sale. So it looks like they're probably putting 5% down, like Lance mentioned. So they're putting 5% down and financing the rest. It was good. I mean, out of all the loan types, this particular house, it is a mobile home. So ideally, out of all the other loan types, I prefer conventional, and the house is in great shape. And another big thing is this page. So does not have to sell another house. So this guy does not have to sell his house in order to buy our house. And he does have a pre-approval. I don't have it yet. They're going to send it over this morning. They got to redo it for this is a higher amount than he was looking for. So I'll get that today. So before I have my seller sign, I'll want that pre-approval to make sure that they can before we take it. But that's good. So right. So I mean, two big factors. A, it's conventional, and they do not have to sell their house. So for the reason I mentioned that is, Heath, you went to show it with me in Salisbury. Was it Tuesday? What day was it? Monday or Tuesday?
It was a Monday, I think.
Yeah, maybe it was Monday. That first house they loved.
Right.
I wanted to put in an offer on it, and I called the listing agent, and he said, yes, we have another offer, but their house is contingent and it's not under contract yet, so we won't accept it. And I knew that I hadn't even got the listing signed on this one yet. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'll keep you up to date. So today, if I can get them to accept it and that house hasn't gone under contract yet, now they will probably accept it, right? But
Yeah.
think about that from if you're selling your personal house and you have several different offers, ideally you're going to take an offer that is like this. They don't have to sell a house. Or B, if they do have to sell a house, you want it to be already under contract. Right. So that's what it would be checked here, is under contract. So you want to make sure those things are checked before you're recommending which offers are best. So that's this offer. Nothing else really in there. They're not asking for any seller credit, which is something you guys always want to check on page 10. Huge if you miss this. For the offer I put on another house this weekend, I put $8,000 right here. And that's a seller credit that goes towards my buyer, right? This particular one, the buyer's not asking for any seller credit, which is good. They're not asking for any home warranty. Yeah, pretty clean offer overall, right? Can anyone think of a section that I might have missed? Which I did. So you always want to make sure that they're, if they're asking for a seller credit, that you understand that. I thought somewhere in here they asked for the refrigerator. I think, yeah, personal property. So they're asking for the refrigerator, right? And this is on page 5. Personal property to convey. You always want to make sure that you're checking this page and page 10 as well, because these are things that it's very easy to overlook these. And if your client signs this and it's got the refrigerator, they want the AC unit in the garage, they want the back building and all this other stuff, and they have them sign that, guess what? That property is no longer theirs, right? And it happens. Because the buyer's agent's not always going to say, hey, you might want to check the personal property section because we're asking for a few things, right? So those are things you guys need to check. Don't look at page 1 and say, oh, 270,000, great, let me accept it. I think she'll be okay with that, the refrigerator, but I'm definitely going to explain that to her. So yeah, any questions about this offer and the financing side of it? Pretty straightforward, right?
Brian, Lance, on the top of page 1, you said it's a mobile home. The legal description on a mobile home, is it, different where, let's see.
It's right here. So they've updated. So this has been updated, I think, in the last few months. For a mobile home, this has to be checked. Will include a manufactured home on the property. Can you see the section in blue?
Yes, I can see it.
So that's new to the offer purchase. So you'll want to make sure that that's checked. And if you're on the buyer's agent side, like if it's a mobile home, you want to make sure that you have that checked. And then when it's a mobile home, you'll see here that it needs to include standard form 2A11, which I don't know that he sent. He'll need to have that addendum signed as well, saying that there's a mobile home on the property, right? And he might have included, I can scroll down. So another thing that you guys will see is if this was FHA or VA was checked, they would have to attach that addendum, right? So when you're on the buyer side, right, you have a lot of things to sign, right? You've got the offer to purchase. If it's a mobile home, you have to have the mobile home addendum. If it's VA, you have to have the VA addendum. So you have to think about all that stuff that you have to have signed up front. And see if he might have attached it already. 16 pages. So he did good. He's already had the disclosure signed, which is smart. Already had the property disclosure signed. Smart. So no, he didn't send over the addendum for the mobile home. I'll ask him to send that when he sends over the pre-approval.
Hey, Brian, I got one quick question on a VA loan. So I have some clients, they're going to buy a new new home, new construction. When you use the builder's contract, but am I gonna also submit a VA addendum?
You're using the builder's lender?
I think they're gonna use the builder's lender because, they give them an extra 2%
Right, they're
towards
doing-
closing costs.
Right. So a lot of times the builder will try to persuade you to use their lending in-house and give them free appliances, $2,500 credit towards this and free closing costs or something like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it depends. If they're using theirs, they may or may not. I would probably just go ahead and have it signed just in case they want it. But they may or may not want it if it's in-house financing. I also understand, guys, you don't have to use their in-house financing, right? They're always going to push for that a lot. I guess there's some pros because maybe they get some benefits, but it's not always the case. And if you have a close relationship with someone that you trust and you want to be giving them business and you know that they're going to keep you in the loop the whole time and the transaction is going to run smoothly, tell your client like, hey, like they're going to offer you a bunch of stuff. I trust my guy. I'll let you make that decision, but you don't have to use their in-house financing because they definitely push that way a lot. So I'll pull this up real quick. So this is the mortgage process. So step one is the loan application and pre-approval. And what does a pre-approval mean?
They're approved for the loan, because they have the right amount of financing, or they haven't, their finances are like correct. They're in I don't know how I'm saying it wrong, but
Right. So they've checked documentation is what you're saying, which is different than a pre-qualification. So a pre-qual is just a very basic, like you just insert your numbers on their online application and spits out you're pre-qualified basically without them really looking into it. And that's a good first step, right? But once you're out there shopping, you want them to have a pre-approval, and you want to be able to provide a pre-approval at the drop of a hat if you're going to put an offer in. The offer we put in yesterday on this other house is calling for highest and best today by noon, meaning they've received several offers and they want everyone's highest and best offer by 12 o'clock today, and then they're going to pick the best offer. I've already talked to my clients this morning and we feel like we've already put in our best offer. It's well above asking, and if they don't take it, then we'll keep shopping. So that is where I'm at on that one this morning. We'll see how it goes. I'm not feeling super confident that it's the number we put in is going to get it, because again, that one does have an $8,000 seller credit on top of it, but it still nets them over ask. So we'll see. So the process again, the pre-approval, getting all the documentation, and then you begin shopping, right? A lot of people are going to do step 3 before they do step 1. Beginning the loan process, meaning once you get the house that you've picked out, right, and you guys are in escrow, you should be sending that to the lender right away and getting that lender involved and letting them start running that numbers. And they'll have a loan estimate usually within 3 days of getting it in escrow. And then during that process, they'll talk about locking the rates. Usually a lender can lock the rates for X amount of time, right? Because rates change sometimes every single week, right? They change all the time, right? So when you get under contract, usually a lender can lock your rates for X amount of time. And a lot of times if these deals, like for example, the one I just showed you, if it has to be extended into January, maybe January 8th is the new closing date, maybe the rates that guy locked won't go to January 8th, right? So maybe it's going to cost him more if rates go up for him to close, which is another reason you guys want to try to keep your deals on time if possible.
Brian, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Usually for how long is good the pre-approval letter, or it depends on the bank who gives the pre-approval?
Sorry, say that one time.
When you get the pre-approval letter from the lender or bank or whatever, for how long, good for how many months?
It'll usually say on there. It'll usually
Okay.
say on the pre-approval, it's good till X amount of time. A lot of people also get a pre-approval specifically for each property, right? So if you've got for example, my client they're pre-approved for 275. The offer we put on the house was for like 245 or 250, somewhere around there. So you'll put in an offer for 123 Main Street, pre-approved for 245, right? And if we don't get this house today, which we probably won't, we'll look at another house tomorrow and I'll get a different pre-approval for 17 Smith Street, and I'll put the pre-approval amount for that, whatever that amount is. Which is how a lot of people will do it. Sometimes you just get one pre-approval and even though it's pre-approved for 500,000, you're putting an offer on something that's for 280, right? I mean, which is fine as well. It just depends. Some people are funny. They don't want other people to know how much they're pre-approved for, right? But it'll usually say on there how long it's approved for, or that those numbers are good. So once you get into underwriting and the underwriters are assuming the risk of lending the money, you'll start the inspection and appraisal process. Once you get that through that, the appraisal comes back good, the inspections come back good, or repairs have to be done. Once you get past that, that's when you get your conditional approval, and you're pretty much at the end of the road. You'll get a final approval, and then at closing, you'll sign everything, and you will be closed. So those are kind of the different steps. I'm going to email this to you guys so you guys have this. But this is basically what the client's going to need, and whatever lender you use. It doesn't have to be Matthew. I've used him; he is very good. But whoever you guys end up wanting to use, and I can send you his contact information. Super nice guy. But in their application, it's going to ask them for this, right? So you don't have to gather this for your client. They can upload it into his database. So they'll do an online application, and then it'll ask them, upload your driver's license, upload your payment, your pay stubs. So all that stuff is very, very easy to do. So those are kind of the different steps. I'm gonna pull up that MLS real quick if I can find that address. Any questions so far? So Lance, you've got where's that house at? You have your clients gonna put an offer in?
It's in Voss, North Carolina. So it's real close to Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Gotcha. Nice. Will that be your first official client?
It'll be my first official client and transaction that gets approved, closed. I mean, because it's new construction, it really doesn't close until the house is
Right.
until they move into. But yeah, it'll be my first transaction.
How far along is the build?
They have the slabs down right now. So
Gotcha. Sure, makes
the builder estimates 6 months, but I'm going to say 7 months to completion. It always takes longer than they say.
Yep, that is how it works. So again, new construction is good. A lot of your clients are going to love new construction. Understand that it can be a long process. Sometimes you get into it kind of at the beginning. Sometimes you literally just go in shopping for lots, right? You go and you look at a demo
But I
house
think-
or two.
I think now it's better than it used to be like a year or like half year ago, because they complained of they are have back orders for the materials and all that stuff. I think now it's much better. They are keep their promise.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit better on timing, but also it's a little bit better for buyers because even 6 months ago, there's times where you go and you look at 5 different lots and there'd be 10 people on the waiting list for each lot.
Exactly.
Which can be tough. So yes, I mean that typically won't close until they move into the house. So those can take a while, and you'll just want to make sure that you're doing those pre-drywall inspections and make sure you're doing all that stuff, and just obviously staying in contact with your client. But this is the one of the houses I put an offer on over the weekend. And you can see that this has proposed financing. It has cash, conventional, and USDA. You'll notice that this one doesn't have FHA, right? That's why we're trying to switch our FHA loan over to USDA. And this is the one that's calling for highest and best. So if I'm submitting an FHA offer to something where they don't want FHA, even if my number is the highest, I'm probably not going to get it, right? So this isn't always up to date and accurate. You'll see sometimes it's just left blank, which is not good. If you have a listing, never put that blank. But usually, and I will when I got with the call with you guys, is call him and ask him, did you accidentally leave FHA off, or is there a reason that this house won't do FHA? So that's something that I will have to deal with when I get off of here on this one. If not, then we'll start looking at other houses that accept FHA. Challenges with getting financed. Your credit score obviously is something that it's a big part of it. Divorce, child support, judgment liens, name changes, aliases, things like that can definitely cause problems. Judgment liens, I've definitely seen people before that had tax issues, and if they're selling their house, that will have to be paid for. So either they don't sell the house, or they sell the house and those judgments are getting paid first, right? Which is going to cut into your profit. But credit score is the one that you're going to hear the most. So that's what most people are asking is what credit score do you have to be financed? And again, I normally leave that up to whoever I'm going to send all my buyers to. Appraisal issues. So again, out of the three of these, conventional, the appraisal is going to be the easiest, I guess. Obviously on cash, you normally don't have to do appraisals if the buyer doesn't want. So you have conventional, then FHA, then VA, kind of in that order of how strict they're going to be. And strict meaning that on a conventional, you might have somebody appraise the house for $250. VA might come in there and appraise it for, do you use different comps and be stricter and only appraise it for $225, right? So you have to kind of factor in the appraisal, what it may come back as, because if you're in this past market where things are so hot, if you're bidding on a house and it goes 100,000 over and your buyer's a VA and they don't have any money down, that's gonna be tough, right? When that comes back and the appraisal comes back 80 grand below where you put the offer in, you're gonna have to back out, right? If you can't cover that difference. And that seller, that listing agent probably shouldn't have accepted that offer, or probably should have told you up front, do you have the cash to cover the appraisal difference? So definitely something you guys want to be thinking about when you're accepting offers and putting in offers. Make sure that, in that VA loan, in that example, if you put 10 grand down or 5 grand down due diligence, he loses that money, right? So if you know that the appraisal may not come back anywhere near that, you might want to be a little bit more cautious about that. So a loan estimate, kind of what we talked about on that previous PDF. Once you get an escrow, within 3 days, your lender will provide them it's kind of like a preliminary numbers. Like, this is what your monthly payment interest rate will look like, assuming nothing else comes up before they start digging deeper and go into underwriting. So let your clients know, we'll know in the first couple of days your monthly payment, all that stuff, because some of that stuff can be hard to predict up front. So we'll know that right up front. We'll know, before the due diligence period ends. You'll have all the information that you need. So the loan estimate is within 3 days of the loan application. The closing disclosure is 3 days before closing, right? So you always want to make sure, and these are the final numbers, right? So this is what your monthly payment is going to be, closing costs, down payment, all that good stuff. This is what you're getting 3 days. It has to be 3 days before you close. So if you're working with a buyer and the lender hasn't provided you a CD yet, and it's Thursday and you're supposed to close on Friday, you are not closing on Friday. The attorney will not let you close on Friday. So you need to make sure you stay on top of things and make sure that you're getting that closing disclosure on time. So if I'm closing on Friday, I want to make sure I have that Tuesday. Some people let you do Wednesday and count Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but to be safe, try to make sure that you're getting that closing disclosure as soon as possible. And if you're on the listing side of things, right, make sure you're in communication with the buyer's agent, right? When it's a week of closing, I'm asking them every day, like, the CD come back yet? The CD come back yet? And they're saying no, I'm going to stay on top of them and make sure, because if not, then closing will not happen, right? And if your seller's moving out and they need that money to close on their new house, then that's going to be delayed too, right? It just all falls downhill. So these are simple little things that you guys can just make sure that's happening on time, so your closings aren't getting delayed, because those are no fun. Estimating costs, and again, this is all on the mortgage side. It's good to know that the basics of it, but again, your lender is going to keep you in the loop of what's going on, but they're going to lock in the rates. They're going to calculate all the closing costs and what that mortgage payment is going to be. And once I set them up with my lender, usually the lender and them will communicate directly, right? And if my buyer has questions, they'll definitely ask me, but typically, like, those rates changing and all that stuff and the monthly payments, that's typically going to be held between the lender and your client. So you don't have to be involved in that as much. You just got to make sure that they are communicating with them. And then on our app, there's, I believe, a mortgage calculator. To be honest, I haven't used it, but definitely play around with the app if you guys are needing some help. And again, if you have a good lender, I've been texting my lender all weekend long, asking questions, and they've been responding back and forth nonstop. So that's it for the mortgage side. Any questions about that or comments? Or I know this was a fairly quick meeting today.
So I have a quick question about conventional loan.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's just under 20%, right, down payment, like, do they have to pay for mortgage insurance? Yes, right.
Under 20%, yeah. And again,
That's
that's a great question for the lender. That even on something like that, I would still, if it's under 20%, then yes. But yeah, even a question like that, I would still push off on my lender, because there's different programs. There's so many different programs, and it just if rates have been going up, there's all these different programs to put you in a rate now, and then you can refinance it. There's just so much different stuff that I try not to get caught up in all that stuff. But yeah, that is a good one.
so all these lenders are like different. They're not the same at all.
Different lenders will use different programs, and what's available to them. They all kind of have the same kind of stuff, but some will try harder too. And that's why I use the people that I use, because they're always going to be very creative. If I have somebody that has lower credit or lower income, they're willing to work out different programs. And I think you mentioned, or someone else mentioned, that down payment assistance, right? Some lenders won't even bring that up, but if that's what you need to get the deal done, then that's what you need, right? And if you need a seller credit, your lender will recommend that, and you can push that in there. So just having someone that on a personal basis is super, super helpful, because it's not always straightforward when you get a loan. And a lot of times they've already gone online to Rocket Mortgage or something else and either got turned down or they didn't like the terms, so they're just not going to buy. And it's your job to say, hey, look, I know you've looked into it before. Let me send you to my guy. Maybe we have some different options. And maybe them getting a second opinion will get them into buying a house, right? So just because they went online and didn't like what they heard the first time, does not mean you should not keep pushing them, right? And a lot of times they can just do a soft pull and it's not hurting the credit, but you definitely want to. A lot of people are embarrassed to tell you why they did it, but just dig a little bit deeper. Have you been pre-approved before? Have you looked into it? And if you didn't like what you have, recommend something else. And then you look like the hero because you found a solution. And obviously, if they're using your lender, they're going to use you, right? So it just goes hand in hand. Stay tuned. We'll definitely have another training with one of our lenders. And then coming up in the next 2 weeks. So if you haven't done any of those like face-to-face, Lance, you were the last one, I believe. We did the CMA one. We had a lender there.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was
super-
Movement Mortgage, correct? He was
Yep.
there.
Yep, Garrett. And Garrett's good. We use Garrett a lot as well. And he's super creative. If you ever get in a situation and they're asking a lot of questions and they, these buyers, which you're going to get a lot in this market is I'm going to wait a few months to buy because of the rates. And Garrett with Movement Mortgage has a really cool tool. It's called the cost of waiting. And it will literally show you if you bought the house right now versus what you would buy it for in 9 months, this is what you're gaining and losing. And it'll typically tell them if you buy now, even the rate's higher, that you'll be in a better spot in 9 months because of the equity that you're building in the house. So he has some really cool tools that you can send to your people and we'll turn them around. So, but again, that's Garrett from Movement Mortgage. I can send you his contact information as well. And I'll send you that PDF as well. What else we got? Well, Kaylin's been able to hear this whole time. She's been super quiet. But yeah, if you guys don't have any other questions, Lance, enjoy the beach. Keith, feel better.
Brian, I will have, when we are done, I will have, if you can stay for like 2 minutes, I have a question for you.
Of course. Of course. All right. Well,
I
that
have
is,
it too.
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, but now about this one, I have a question about MLS.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll stay a little bit, okay, after.
Okay. We got a lot of people saying that's class.
My question is about MLS too. So
Okay. Okay.
we have
Yeah.
the same thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you guys want to go, if you guys want to go and ask, or if you guys, everyone else wants to jump off if they don't
Yeah,
have anything.
So Brian, can you please open, like you showed us the house that you are shopping right now with your buyer.
Mhm.
And if you can show me how to use the showing time, please. Kind of like to schedule an appointment, because I had to schedule an appointment on Saturday for a client, and the house that was they're looking to see, in order to schedule an appointment I had to use like a showing time. This is what
Yes.
the message I received from the listing agent. So I clicked the showing time, but I was like, I was blocked. I did not know what information do I put there.
Right. So for example, on this one, because they're not doing showings anymore and they're going to accept the highest offer, they've taken showings off. Because normally that would be a block right here. So let's do a search and we'll try to find something else that's active. And let's do just active. We'll find an active house. Again, coming soon. You're not going to be able to use showing time either. But
Yeah.
let's go to this house. Look at the legal description in this one. Good gracious.
Oh.
Oh my God. I've never seen a
Somebody
legal
got
description.
inspired. Somebody got inspired.
They put the directions in there. That's interesting. That's funny. So you clicked on schedule showing.
Hold on a little bit.
So this is what it looks like. So when you're in the MLS, you're going to see this schedule showing for showing time here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Schedule showing.
So this is going to send it to you. Look at this handsome fellow right here.
Okay.
So this is my basic information that I have here. I've unclicked phone call. If you have that, they will call you every time you schedule a showing, and it's super annoying.
It's annoying. Okay.
But again, maybe you like phone calls, but I also understand that when you have that clicked and you have a listing, every person that shows, showing time will call you every single time.
Okay.
I'm good with just text and email. And a lot of people would just do email or just do text, but I do like to have both of those. So I'm going to schedule a single showing right here.
Okay.
And for some reason, this was not allowing showings. All right, let's try to find another one. That wasn't a good example. This one's under construction. It's a new build, so that's probably not a good example. All right, schedule a showing. Schedule single showing.
Oh, okay.
So you said you had some stuff blocked off? Or no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you see stuff blocked off, that means that they're not allowing showings during that time, right? So
Okay.
a lot of times, if it's blocked off, a lot of people will say, hey, you need at least 2 hours notice before you do something, right? So it's basically 10 o'clock now. It might always be blocked off for 2 hours in advance, meaning they need at least a
Okay.
2-hour window of notice. On Friday, I was trying to book a showing for Saturday, and pretend this is Saturday and this is Sunday. All of Saturday and all of Sunday was blocked off because they weren't allowing any weekend showings.
Yeah.
So when it's blocked off, they have it blocked off for a reason. You might have some people that block it off after 6 p.m. because they don't want people coming in the dark, or that's when they're having dinner with their family. So it'll be blocked off for different reasons. If I wanted to schedule something for this one, I would just click on the time that I wanted for it. So I'll say 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll just request appointment here. And if I requested it right now, it would give me
Yeah.
it would either give me an automatic approval, or it would say you're not approved yet. And then once it was approved manually, then it would do it. And this is where you always also do for like appraisals and inspections and photography as well. So you can change it from just a showing to other stuff as well.
For the same property, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
if you're going back out for a second time, you might
Mhm.
want to put second showing, because it lets the listing agent know, all right, this is the second time going out there with the same client. That's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can change appointment time. So if this is a bigger property, we're gonna get there at 12. Maybe I'm requesting 45 minutes. So I want to change it to 45. You can add in your buyer's name.
It's not.
I don't normally do that. I don't think I've ever done that actually. But you can if you want to keep that, because you have your own showing time, so that you can log into and keep track of all that if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help?
A lot. And one more quick question, since we are still here on the MLS page. So it's about the same client that I told you right now from Saturday. So they want to kind of like a specific area to take a look for the houses, because they want specific schools. Their kids are using, like, they go to middle school and high school. Can you please go back and show me how to search a specific area, please?
Yeah, so you can do that here. If you have the address of what they're looking for, I normally do it by address, but you can break it down to subdivision. You can break it down to middle school and high school here. So if they want to go, if they only want to go to East Lincoln, you could put that here, and it would only properties. Yeah, so only properties that say East Lincoln as their high school would show up.
Okay. That makes sense.
So that's right in here. And again, to get to that, you're just going to search residential detailed. Yeah. And again, when you're putting stuff, you're doing it by address. Whatever you type in, like, it's going to populate down here. Make sure you're clicking it once you pop it in. It works a lot better that way. And then you can change your mileage as you go out.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Ben. I appreciate your help.
Of course. And like I said, let me know if you need me to do any help, like searching for those properties.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
You're the best.
No. Well, what you got, bud?
Hey, I have a question about an MLS in the Raleigh, Durham, Chopper Hill area.
Okay,
So it's different MLS, right? Triangle MLS.
triangle, yeah.
So for the Greensboro and High Point part, is it still triangle?
It's
I can't
Triad. So this is Triad. So I was actually in Triad this morning. So Triad is Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, that area, and Moxville. So yeah, so you have Canopy, Triad, and then Triangle as it goes.
Okay, because like yeah, I have some people like they needed like they were like a little bit interested in buying land. Yeah, that's what
Gotcha.
that's what it said.
So they're looking to buy in another MLS.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So typically, I mean, you're not going to have access to the Triad or Triangle MLS. If you need access to it, like one of my agent Brittany this morning, she needed the contact information for this house. So I logged in and downloaded this MLS sheet because she doesn't have access to this MLS, and then I also gave her access to the listing agent. So I downloaded this and emailed it to her so she could reach out to because she's not going to be able to go through showing time, right? Like we just showed for her. So she's going to reach out to him directly and say, hey, I don't have access to the Triad MLS, but I have a client that's very interested in your property. Can we go see the property today at 4:00? Can you give me access? Right. Yeah. So if you ever need that, reach out to me or to Andrea or Amanda, and we can get you the basic information of like their contact information. If you can't find it in like Zillow or something.
Okay. Thank you.
And if it's something in the future where maybe you just have a ton of clients in Greensboro, a ton of clients in Raleigh that you're just constantly doing that. It might be something where it's maybe you join that MLS as well. That way you have your own access to it if you're going to be using it a lot, right? So yeah. Does that answer?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Do you have anything specific that you want me to look up while I'm in here?
Like no, that's fine.
Okay.
Canopy MLS is good.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, that's good. Glad you had some good questions, both of you. Like I said, if you guys anything else, let me know. I'll be around all weekend. I've already scheduled a listing appointment for this evening at 6:30. So it's a holiday week, but I'm not going to stop. So get out there and work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
I
luck.
wish
Thank you so much.
wish you have a blessed week, guys, and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yeah, you too.
You guys.
Bye
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Have a good day. Bye bye.